Welcome to the world's fastest speedway, Talladega, in Talladega, Alabama. For over 20 years, the late model Winston Cup stock cars of NASCAR have roared around this 2.6-mile tri-oval at hair-raising speeds, and its story is filled with fact and Southern-style folklore. Throughout the 60s, the Daytona International Speedway held the distinction of being NASCAR's premier superspeedway for showcase events like the Daytona 500. The late Bill France, who at the time was the president at Daytona, felt there was a need for a larger, faster racetrack. So in 1968, ground was broken in Talladega for the new superspeedway. Talladega Public Relations Director Jim Freeman says the track almost wound up in South Carolina.
And it came down to the government agencies, local, county, and state agencies in South Carolina and Alabama. And the people of Alabama were more persuasive.
Before his death, Bill France often spoke of how well everything turned out.
It's a fine location. You can't find any nicer people than there are here in Alabama.
And Alabama's love affair with Talladega officially began in 1969, after 2 million cubic yards of dark Alabama soil had been excavated. The resulting speedway was, to say the least, impressive. 33-degree bank turns as high as a 5-story building, a 4,000-foot backstretch, and a racing surface 48 feet wide. The first race there in 1969 was won by Richard Brickhouse, and the superstars of NASCAR, who would now be hurling themselves and their 3,700-pound race cars around this tri-oval, knew that Talladega meant speed.
As far as I'm concerned, racing is a game of speed, and I guess that's really the reason I like to run a place like Talladega.
The race itself is a spectacle. Just being here and being a part of it is it's a thrill.
This is a different racetrack. It's different than anywhere in the world. It's a kind of a racetrack that there's really nothing but speed here.
NASCAR great David Pearson made this brief pronouncement concerning Talladega 20 years ago.
It's fast. It's the fastest racetrack we've got.
20 years later, what's his opinion of Talladega?
Yeah, I'd have to say I like it. I guess I've won here about as many times as anybody, so it's been pretty good to me.
The King, Richard Petty, says that despite the 200-mile-per-hour speeds, Talladega is a relatively safe track.
From the standpoint of running 3 or 4 mile an hour faster here than we do at Daytona or something like that, then the danger doesn't go up according to the escalation of the speed.
For over 20 years, Talladega's long straights and high banks naturally lent themselves to closed-course speed record runs. There have been many set here. In 1970, Buddy Baker set the record at 200 miles per hour. NASCAR great Bobby Isaacs broke that record a year later at 211. A.J. Foyt broke that record in his own race car in 1974, going 217 miles per hour. That was broken by the late Mark Donohue shortly thereafter, when he went 221. And more recently, in 1989, Lynn St. James set new closed-course records in a specially prepared Ford Thunderbird. Why are records being set time and again at Talladega?
From the day it was built, it was the world's fastest speedway. The Winston 500 set a world record. It's the fastest 500-mile automobile race ever run anywhere in the world in any kind of racing, 186 miles an hour average speed.
And believe it or not, the closed-course speed record for 18-wheelers was set at Talladega by Alabama's Johnny Ray almost 20 years ago when he rumbled to a blinding speed of 92 miles per hour. There are an infinite number of racetracks around the world, but only a handful have names that are as much a part of racing history as the cars and drivers who have raced on them. Indianapolis, Le Mans, Sebring, Riverside, and of course Daytona. But ever since that typically sultry southern day in 1969, when the gates of this racetrack opened, it has worn the distinction that no other racetrack can lay claim to. Talladega, world's fastest speedway.